Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. With me, your host Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day. And if you want all your Rangers content, this is the place to come to, your one-stop shop for all your latest Rangers news, views, updates, rumours, transfers, signings, podcast and live streams during the season. Obviously, we also hope to have some live streams of the pre-season games as well. Rangers have a busy pre-season with games against Hoffenheim, Newcastle and of course HSV Hamburg booked at this moment in time. There is rumours of Olympiacos and Leeds upcoming possibly as well. Now if you want to make sure that you don't miss any on this great content, then you need to hit that sub and ring the notification bell. If you ring the notification bell, if you set it to all, it will always spring up with a reminder on your device and let you know when the channel has brought out some new news, when it is going live, and also when the live streams are upcoming as well. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some news that has been going on around the club over the past day or so. Obviously still early in the week. I know it's been rumoured and hoped that by the end of this week we will have had at least another 2 signings incoming to the club. Rumours I've heard from one of my sources was that someone who knows somebody who works in the medical department said there are 2 medicals booked for this week, apparently. Who they are, who knows? I know one of them. That's going to be Cyril Dessers. More of that in a moment. Who's the second one going to be? Is it going to finally be Jose Cifuentes? Is he finally going to fly over from America? Is that deal finally going to get done? Now we are on the 4th of July. 4th of July and US Independence Day. Happy Independence Day to anyone watching in the United States of America. Although I don't know why we celebrate that, because we lost. Anyway, so that's another podcast. Anyway, or could it be Jonathan Panzo? That's another one. Yes. I mean, that the Panzo story is another one, isn't it? All these Rangers transfers this summer seem to have had a little bit of twists and turns and a little bit of stories in them, and a little bit of that and a little bit of this, isn't it? I mean, you take Panzo for example. It's coming, it's close. We've got Ross Wilson there. Ross Wilson loves us still. He's going to help us. It's a long way away. Well, now it's close. It seems to be one thing and then the other with these transfers. Anyway, let's talk obviously about the one that is virtually across the line now and is done barring any disasters in the medical, and that is the signing of Cremonese forward Cyril Dessers. This is the transfer guru himself, Mr. Fabrizio Romano. He tweeted out yesterday, Rangers have completed the Cyril Dessers deal with Cremonese. It will be done and sealed on Tuesday. Hashtag Rangers FC. Understand Rangers will pay 5 million fee plus 1.5 million in add-ons. That's euros, guys, not pounds sterling. 5 million euros is around about 4.5 million pounds. 1.5 million euros, around roughly a million. Obviously interest rates and exchange rates vary, so that's what we're looking at. So it could rise as high as 5.5 million with add-on fees. I don't know what you think, guys. Let me know what you think. A 28-year-old, that's a lot of money to pay for a 28-year-old. No resale value. I think what it is hoped is that Dessers will come in and hit the ground running from day one. That he is kind of the finished article, not a development prospect. That's what the hope is. I think, the fact that he's going to come in, he's going to hit the ground, and he will be the man from day one. That, I think, is why they have signed him. That he's not a project player. I think a lot of, the other players that have perhaps been linked with Rangers, the Duvakis deals, the Madger deal, etc., they're all kind of seen as being project players who can develop, still players who can get better, still players who can still be changed into something you want them to be. Whereas Dessers is more of the finished article. He's 28. He's not going to get any better. He's not going to develop any further now that he's sort of reached the peak of his game. He's at the peak of his game. I think Michael Beale will be hoping that he can get him back to his Feyenoord form when he scored 10 goals in the Conference League, the UEFA Conference League, whatever that tournament is called now. And he scored double-digit goals in Holland as well. Obviously, he had a very poor season with a very poor team in Cremonese. So, I think that's the hope, that's the desire, that, Michael Beale wants to get him up there. He wants to pair him with one of the centre forwards that is already at the club now. Obviously, Sam Lammers, I think, is probably the top option there. New signing from Atalanta. There's obviously Kemar Roofe. Now, if we can keep Kemar Roofe fit, I know that's a miracle. Let's pray for the miracle. Pray for the miracle of Kemar Roofe staying fit all season. Probably not going to happen, but Tony Cholak, what's going to happen with him? Is he staying? Is he going? Obviously links with the Bundesliga. I think if he does go out, then you may see another striker come in. Look, I'm going to be frank even. I'm going to be frank here. I I don't think if Cholak doesn't go out, I think that is it in terms of striker signings. I don't think there'll be any more strikers coming in, and I'll talk a little bit about Danilo in a moment. I think that's pretty much it. Michael Beale said 2 or 3 more. I think you're probably looking at those 3 being Dessers, Panzo, and Cifuentes. They're probably the 3 that he is talking about. And then I think it's going to be a case of if Rangers make any more acquisitions, it'll be a 1 in, 1 out kind of scenario. Which just kind of begs the question about the transfer budget, doesn't it? You've got a situation where once the Dessers deal goes through, you're probably looking at somewhere in the region of 8 million being spent by the club. Now, allegedly the budget was 15 million. That's a rumour. We don't know what it was really, because no club ever comes out and says our budget is X million, because that automatically raises prices, doesn't it? Now, if 10 million was ring fence, and that 10 million was not an extra 10 million, so it wasn't a case of here's 15 million Michael Beale and there's the 10 million ring fence for Malik and for James Sands. No, it wasn't that case. That ring fence 10 million was part of that 15 million, or 20 million, or 12 million, or 18 million, or whatever that budget was. So if we spent 8, what's left? That's the question. What's left to spend? Now, if you work on the basis that Panzo is about 2.5, that would take you to 10.5. Cifuentes about 1.5. So you're looking at 12 million there. That's 12 million pounds spent. So was the budget 12 million? That's the question. And if it was 12 million, is that enough? And especially that Celtic, have a vastly superior transfer budget to us. They've signed 2 players, and there are rumours that they're going to make some big splash signings over the next few weeks because of the fact they do have a substantially higher budget. Now, that's going to be for the case that, look, they've been at the top of the Scottish game for quite a while now. They've got more money because they've developed players who've then been sold down south for 10, 12, 15 million pounds. Kieran Tierney's of this world. They have generated a whole lot more income than us. And it's going to take time for us to catch up. Of course it is, after 2012. It's an ongoing process. It's an absolutely ongoing process there. And the fact that, they haven't had to rebuild like we have. They've had a situation where they've had players they can flog on for big prices and bring in big money to the club, something that Rangers haven't been able to do up until very, very recently. And even then, we haven't really done it, have we? I mean, we've missed out on on big paydays for the likes of Alfie, Ryan Kent, Glenn Kamara. We turned down big transfer budget deals for them. So, we've only got ourselves to blame from that aspect. And I really hope that James Bisgrove, the new sporting director, whoever that is, when they come in, doesn't allow that to happen again, doesn't allow a situation when we are allowing, if you take the case of Alfie at 16 million, I think we were offered for him from Lille, Ryan Kent at 7, that's 23, Glenn Kamara was 6, that's 29 million pounds worth of talent. Kamara will get a fee for, but 23 million pounds worth of talent just walking out the door for absolutely nothing. That's criminal. That's pretty bad, and that's bad management at the top by the sporting director and the chief executive at the time. Now, that's something that hopefully now will not happen again. James Bisgrove seems very turned on and switched on to everything, and I think whoever we appoint as this new sporting director will have to have that same mentality as James Bisgrove for definite. And I think we're seeing that, aren't we, in the way the club is operating this summer in a very forward-thinking way, with the fans forums, the listening to fans, consulting with fans, the rebuild that's ongoing, the plans for the stadium. There is a very forward-thinking ethos at the club. Now, I talked about strikers, and Danilo obviously was the other name that's been linked. Now, Rangers obviously missed out, didn't they? They went in for that cheeky £3.5 million bid. It was turned down. Feyenoord then came back with an expectation of around 7 million. Some fans obviously think that's unrealistic. It is a lot of money to spend, of course, for a club like ours, like we are at this moment in time. We don't have the money of the past, do we? So that is the situation. Now, this was tweeted out by Chris Jack. Now, Chris Jack is someone who is a bit of an in-the-know kind of guy, isn't he? When Chris Jack talks about a story about the club, it tends to be true, doesn't it? So this is what he had to say, writing in the Herald and also tweeting out on Twitter as well. Chris Jack just filed an updated version with a Danilo reference on the back burner for now, but could be revisited. Now, as I dropped that video last night, you'll see that the whole Danilo deal now looks to have been put onto the back burner. There may be a few talks going on in the background, but it seems that the talks have stalled, and it may be a deal that we go back to later on in this pre-season period if someone leaves. I think that's the situation now. I don't think Danilo will come in now unless one of Cholak or Sakala or someone like that departs the club this summer. I think there is... look... Danilo for me is a big. I would have loved to see him come in. He's quick. He shoots from anywhere. He's he takes. I mean, there's tons of footage of him hitting the ball and smashing the ball in from 25, 30 yards. I mean, we'd have killed for someone to do that last season, wouldn't we? You know, he's skillful, he's quick, he involves others, he can play multiple positions. He's 4 years younger than Dessers. So I would have loved to see Dinio come in, but it does look like that deal has been moved to the back burner by the club. And now that they've got Cyril Dessers, they're pretty much happy with their forward options with Dessers, Lammers, Roof, possibly Cholak and Fashion Sakala as well, who Michael Beale does apparently consider as able to play centre forward, rightly or wrongly. I guess we've just got to trust the manager, trust the process. You know, he had the club moving in the right direction. He was very tactically astute for me. He outmatched and outplayed Celtic on a number of occasions, even though we did lose to them at Parkhead, a game we never should have lost. So, you know, I think the team is definitely moving in the right direction. And with all these new signings, these new acquisitions, this new impetus to the team, I think there could be a really big sea change in Scottish football this coming season. Finally, I want to talk about Jonathan Panzo. The fourth official, again, a fairly reliable source, said the newest article on Jonathan Panzo to Rangers very close to being done, as confirmed by several sources to me. The transfer fee will be somewhere between £2.5 and £3 million. Jonathan Panzo, he's a left-sided centre-back, someone who can also play left-back. Now, highly likely, apparently, according to things that I'm hearing, that if Panzo is signed, it's highly likely that will see the end of Ben Davies at Ibrox. Ben Davies has been linked with a number of championship clubs, and Rangers recouping somewhere close to that money they paid for. Now it was 2 million, rising to 4 million with add-ons. He obviously has not reached that 4 million marker yet. So if Rangers can get 2.5 million for him, they would recoup a large part of that transfer fee. Obviously not his wages, but would recoup the transfer fee that they paid for Davies. One of the teams that has rumoured to be interested in Davies is Stoke City. So that's, you know, that they are a team managed by Scotsman Alex Neil. Definitely a look of building for the future after what was a very poor season for them last year. So Davies is definitely someone who, you know, kind of fits that whole thing, you know. So look, at the end of the day, I think that, you know, Panzo is close. I think Panzo will get done sooner rather than later. I think Panzo could even be done this week, which would be a great signing ahead of obviously the trip to Germany. So looking forward to that. There is rumours, lots of different rumours around. There's other news sites, but, you know, look, I'm taking this stuff from Heart and Hand. I'm taking it from Four Lads, from Fourth Official, from Chris Jack, guys who've got reliable backgrounds in taking information, reliable sources. And you know, people at Heart and Hand and Four Lads, Fourth Official, are tweeting out it's fairly accurate. Fabrizio Romano, again, man in the know. Like I said, I'd love to see his contacts list, see who he knows in the game. Well, guys, one final thing is that Steven Gerrard has taken a job now. Gerrard is back in football management. But where is Steven Gerrard back in football management? Well, he has taken a job in Saudi Arabia after previously saying that he would not take a job out there. But now he has. He signed for, and here we go, time to butcher a name again, El Al Ettifaq. God knows where that is. It's in Saudi Arabia somewhere. It even led to jokes that did he want Glenn Kamara to come and keep him company over in Saudi. There we go. Stephen, you can have him for 5 million. Saudi's got loads of money. Give us some money. 5, 6 million, in fact 10 million for Glenn Kamara. I'm sure the Saudis will only be too willing to pay that when you tell him what a wonderful international footballer he truly is. Well, thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. Remember, I always need you to do just 2 things for me. Number 1, smash that like for me. And number 2, remember, always remember, we are the people.